Hello everybody. So we're going to be taking a look at the Reform UK branch rules like I promised in my morning video this morning. So we're going to take a look at the new branch rules for the Reform Party. So this is in the form of a thread that Basil the Great has done. When it comes on, that's it. Right, there we go. Go back up. That's it. The issues branch managers have raised are highlighted in red. The full document is at the end of the thread. So what I'll do is, I'm not going to post every screenshot of what Basil the Great has done. I'll just post a link to his thread and you can go and take a look at it for yourselves once I've uploaded the video. But we'll have a look and see what they've got to say. So here we have Basil the Great. All branch officers must sign NDAs, meaning if they leave the party, they can't explain the truth of why they've left or even discuss the problems at reform without facing possible legal action. Immediate red flag there, and you can read it on the screen. The specific branch officers must sign NDA and will complete parties approved GDPR training prior to confirmation and prior to gaining access to any party systems. Now that would be okay to me, doing GDPR training and stuff like that, but it's the NDA part that's a bit authoritarian. They're not even allowed to communicate via WhatsApp. I'm told this is so everything is done via official Reform email addresses, which Reform HQ can monitor. They feel they're being spied on, and they most likely are, let's face it, they most likely are. See if we can boost this a little bit, because it's a little bit smaller. There we go, see what will go up. There we go. That's a little bit better. Take it down a little bit so I can, a little bit. There we go, that's a little bit better. You'll be able to read it now. So these are the two. I'd like to know what that's about as well. 4.12, branch officers must resign within 28 days of being placed on the list. Being placed on what list? That'd be interesting to read, but it's not on here. There we go. As you say, they're not even allowed to communicate via WhatsApp. I'm told this is so, yeah, I've covered that. So here's the actual thing itself. Branch officers are not permitted to use social media platforms such as WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, etc. to communicate party and branch operations and activities to members and or supporters. They're keeping a very tight control on what everybody can do, aren't they? National regional directors are not elected, they are appointed, allegedly often by Zai Yusuf as sort of handlers to ensure HQ maintain control over the branches. At any time they can come into a branch and take the position of chair to control meetings. Again, you would think that a party that likes democracy and free speech would democratise the process and have the membership decide who regional directors are going to be, but that's all decided by Zai Yusuf and Nigel Farage at the top. Like I said, these are my criticisms when I first started criticising the Reform Party. Everything is centralised around Zai Yusuf and Nigel Farage. It's not a democracy, the party. So I'll let you have a look at that. If branches call emergency meetings to discuss a problem, the handlers can cancel these meetings at any time. So they're not even allowed to raise concerns about what's happening then. An emergency management meeting can be proposed by one branch officer and seconded by another branch officer, although it can be annulled by a national or regional director at their sole discretion, deem it frivolous or vexatious or otherwise unnecessary. It doesn't sound like a really great party to be a part of, does it really? There have been disputes over whether funds raised by branches belong to them. Reform HQ wants to make it clear they control everything. For the avoidance of doubt, all funds held within the party belong to Reform HQ, which is required to account for them. All speakers must be approved. Reform don't trust their branches organising speakers. They must be approved now by HQ. Only speakers on the approved event speakers list are eligible to give talks or hold question and answer sessions at branch events. The list will be made available on the Reform Pro portal or form a national regional director. Adherence to this policy is responsibility of the branch chair, and deviation may result in disciplinary action. This requirement will only come into effect with notice when the function becomes available. So basically, if anybody wanted to invite, somebody like Tommy Robinson to come and speak at an event, they wouldn't be allowed. This is to close down on that sort of thing, isn't it? That's all that's for. The handlers must have access to all social media accounts. The branches cannot be trusted with them. They don't have a whole lot of faith in branches, do they? They want a tight rein on absolutely everything. There's no room to breathe within the party by the looks of things. So this is what they said about branches in the rules. Branches must grant the regional director admin rights to all branch social media profiles without undue delay. Failure to do so may result in disciplinary action. They're there with a whip, aren't they? The whip and the stick all the time. Comply or you'll be disciplined. Who'd want to live in an environment like that? But the worst is left for last. The HQ and the people they appoint to oversee the branches don't even have to abide by these rules themselves, and at any time they decide to suspend or waiver these rules, and they don't have to tell anybody. Talk about dictatorship. So this is the waiver, apparently. The party chairman, vice chairman, national directors and their duly authorised appointees may at their absolute discretion revoke, suspend or waiver any branch rule at any time without notice. So everybody else below that level is held to account, but nobody above that level is held to account. Amazing. We'll have a look at some of the I can't read any of those, anyway. But these are obviously all the screenshots of all the rules that have come into effect. So, like I said, I will be posting these. I'll be posting the link, so go check it out yourself. But I want to have a look at this argument because this is amazing, right? Because you get this every single time. This is the argument that they use when you question the Reform Party. And I've seen it 1,000 times. Because he's questioned the Reform rules, somebody comes along and says this: do you want another Labour government then? Well, in all fairness, that's what you're going to get if you get the Reform Party in power. You're just going to get another part of the Uni Party. You're going to get the Tory wets, which in my opinion are just as bad as the Labour Party. As we can... actually, we'll go and see if we can take a look at that, actually. See if I can find it. The new Justice and Prison Czar for the Reform Party, because that's another thing that's an absolute joke. I was talking about that in the live stream too. So we'll see if we can go and find that actually. There we go. Right. So this is basically what Basil the Great said about this. Leaked reform. It comes upon here. That's it. So this is basically what he said about it. Leaked reform issues. New branches. Branch leader furious. There's no trust whatsoever. Everyone signs NDAs. No say in party policy, which is a massive one. Can you imagine having branches that have no say in how policy is developed or anything like that? It's only developed from the very top. Nobody has any input on anything that the party stands for or anything like that. It's all decided by Nigel Farage and Zai Youssef. Why anybody would sign up to this is beyond me. I would be like quitting on the spot. And like I said in my video earlier today, they need to quit en masse, but keep the branches and just move to a different party, in my opinion. Because this is 1984-ish. This rubbish, isn't it? It really is. Oh, that's another thing as well. This is something else I was going to cover in a video, but I may as well cover it in this one. Breaking: major foreign countries have hit the UK with a travel ban warning. Australia, France, Canada, even Mexico are telling their citizens to exercise caution when visiting Britain as crime soars. What happened to Britain? So apparently, this year alone, we've had 50,510 knife-enabling offences, year ending March 2024. Wow, we are really going down the toilet pretty quick, aren't we? See if I can find it. Did I have it on my actual feed? So look on there. It could be on my feed, but it's interesting. Once you see who the actual czar is, you'll understand why they're saying this shit. Right, let's see if we can get on there. Where are we? Here we go. Let's go. I'm gonna sneeze. Phew. Pardon me. When it loads up, that is. You won't see this because I'm going to cut this out. There we go. Right. So I'll see if it's actually on here. Yeah, that's what I posted earlier. We'll see the czar. There we go. This is it. Right, so this Lord Talbot's put this. Is Vanessa fake a man? It's fake. Sorry, he's put fake, but I've put it's Vanessa Frake. Richard the North. Vanessa Frake would allow men in women's prisons. This is Vanessa Frake. This is the new Justice and Prisons Czar for the Reform Party. Yeah. That's her. This is the person who thinks it should be a case-by-case basis when looking whether or not to put men in women's prisons or not. Yeah, I'll just leave that with you. You can make your own minds up about that, about the direction the Reform Party is going. And if you honestly still believe that the Reform Party is anything but controlled opposition, and it looks as though it's now turning woke as well, not to mention all those authoritarian rules that they brought in for branches and stuff like that. I won't be able to live under that sort of regime. I don't know why any patriot is still a member of, well, a subscriber of the Reform Party. You should just cancel your membership and go and pick any party you like. Go and pick any party you like. Go and look for independent candidates who, are saying the right things that you want to implement in your local council and stuff like that. Ditch the Reform Party, go and choose something else, because they're an absolute clown show and a joke now. They really are. They're not the saviours of this country. They never were. This is Vindicator, signing off.